Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, what is up? I'm Lana Simone, and I have to be at work in about 35 minutes, so we have like 15 to get this together. These twists have been in my hair for, what, a week and a half? It's been a week and a half. They're getting very much raggedy at this point, and I can't go another day with them, so we are going to be unraveling these twists today. I don't know what it's gonna look like. I haven't done a twist out in a hot little minute, but so far, so good. Like, so far, so good. Let's see. Let us see what she is giving. Also, if you are not already subscribed, do not forget to do that. I'm trying to take these out as carefully as possible. Let me get some hair product as well. I do have my flat iron here as well, just in case I may want to stretch the final look out a little bit. I think this might be the longest that I've kept a style in that I've done like myself. Week and a half, is it? I don't know, y'all, but she did her job for the time being though. And it was so nice to just get up and slick an edge. Like, I didn't have to do anything crazy to my hair. I'm telling y'all, these protective styles be coming in clutch. For the pieces that kind of ended like this, I'm gonna just take some product and go through and just re-finger coil the ends of those pieces, like say. Just take it. All right, so the first braid is out. The first braid, the first twist. Y'all, I had somebody ask me the other day why it is that I have a full-time job if I'm a content creator with such a huge following. And I don't think I've ever really talked much about this, like on my channel especially, but I was doing content creation full-time for about 3 years, from the years of like 2021 to like 2024. Is that correct? Or 2020 to 2023. There were 3 consecutive years where I was doing content creation full-time, making great money, and I was able to pay all my bills with just social media. And at the time, 2020 and 2021, it wasn't as saturated as it is now. But even when I was making really, really good money with content creation, I always, in the back of my mind, I was like, dang, what if this is like not a thing anymore? Like, what if influencers are just not a thing anymore? Brands don't want to use influencers, and all this just stops. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm always gonna make sure that I have a backup plan, especially when it comes to my finances, because I don't play that. Towards the end of either 2023 or 2024, I was like, let me just start looking for like an actual job, just in case. Like, the job was a just in case situation, because like I said, I was still making really good money doing content creation. And so I just started looking. I ended up finding a job that I really liked, luckily, but I started off as a temp. So it wasn't a full-time position, it was just something, which was perfect because I still had plenty of time to do content creation, because I wasn't there full-time. And so I was a temp for about a year at this place. And then after a year of being a temp, I was hired full-time for pretty much the same position. So I lucked out with that, and it's so funny because it kind of correlated with when I got hired full-time. That's really when social media slowed down significantly for me. So I mean, I was still making money on social media, but it definitely wasn't anywhere close to what I was making in the previous years, you know what I mean? So I'm happy that I started looking when I did, because I know the job market is crazy right now. At the end of the day, content creation is always something that I have enjoyed doing. So I told myself, no matter what job I have, I'm always gonna make time for it. Even if I'm posting less or, whatever the case is, I'm just always gonna make time for the things that I love. Yo, when I think about it, I started making content in 2018. And for the first year, I was just doing videos. I didn't have any brand deals. Nothing was popping in the finance region when I started making content. But, who knows what the future holds. I don't really plan on leaving my full-time job just because I am still able to do both. Yo, I love my job. I know it sounds like who loves their job, but I truly love my job. I love the people that I work with. So for me, it's not something that is getting in the way of content, or it's not, it's just not a stressful job. So, and it's interesting too to see like just kind of how social media has evolved throughout the years, and how it started off. Because Instagram, y'all remember back in the day, Instagram was only a platform for photos. Like, it was only a platform for photos, and then they introduced those 15-second videos, I think it was at first, but it was like, it wasn't real style. It was, yeah, like that was the first type of videos that Instagram introduced before Reels became a thing. But I'm like, man, I'm so thankful for my journey, and that I was able to support myself doing just content for 3 years. Like that's kind of a big deal. Low key, but high key, that is how I was able to move out and get my own place. So I'm very thankful for this journey, although it has slowed down a bit. And I've heard this from other creators too, that it's just not what it used to be. I'm sure there are people who are still doing content creation full time, which is amazing. But for me, it definitely has slowed down a bit. Even with my engagement on social media. I mean, we haven't really talked about this much, but I've heard from a bunch of other creators too that their engagement has just plummeted. And I've experienced the same thing. Like, I went back and looked at some of my videos from like 2019, 2018. And in my opinion, knowing where I came from and where I am now, the videos were all right. Like, they were okay, they were all right, but the amount of engagement that I used to get on my content back then was crazy. I feel like my content is just not being shown to the people who follow me because I've heard that by plenty of people, like, oh, I don't see your content anymore. And I'm posting. It's not like I stopped posting altogether, but one, my content is just not being shown, and two, I feel like people are not engaging like they used to, at least in my experience. That's kind of what I am seeing from my end. And cool, right? Like, social media is changing, everything's always changing, so maybe this is just the way that it's going. But again, I had a feeling something was going to happen with the social media world, which is why I decided to get a job. So, y'all, this twist out is eating though, low key. On the lowest of keys, she is eating. What time is it? Oh my God, what time is it, y'all? But yeah, that is my story. That is how we ended up with a full-time job. And it's so funny because when I first started working and people started discovering my social media pages, and rule of thumb, I try to not talk about my social media pages at work. Like, I don't want to add people at work. That's kind of just always been a rule of thumb for me, just because it's two different audiences. I don't really like to mix and mingle, and I did notice at a previous job that I had, and at the time, I think I only had like 10,000 followers. It wasn't anything crazy, but I had a part-time job before, and I didn't really tell anybody about it. But, back in 2017, 2018, 10,000 followers is a big deal. You have a K in your following? Huge deal. And so I kept that on the hush-hush, because for me, I'm not somebody who's, looking for attention and, oh yeah, oh my God, have you seen me? Do you follow me? Like, I got a big following. Like, I've never been that person, so I kind of just kept it to myself. But once people started finding out about it, it's like they started, what's the word for it? Like, treating me different, definitely, but it's almost like people who never spoke to me before or didn't care to know who I was, because at the time I was new to this position. So there were a bunch of people who I hadn't even met yet, and they're now going out of their way to introduce themselves to me and, ask about my following and, oh, how'd you get to, and it's like, you weren't checking for me before, and now that you found out that I have this big following, now you know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't really like that. So it's always kind of awkward, like, starting at a job and like, oh my God, what's your social media? And I'm like, oh. And I feel like there is this like common misconception with just influencers and being rich. That a lot of times there's definitely a disconnect with that, because I remember one of my coworkers telling me early on, like once he found out about my social media page, he was like, why are you working here if you're basically famous? And I was like, I said, and this is it. People think that a big following means a big bank account. And what people don't realize is that, yes, Instagram was paying at one point for for views, right? For real views, but then they stopped. Whether you have a big following or not, if you don't have like something that you're selling or, you know, brand deals, brands constantly reaching out to you, you're not really making money. Yeah, the big following, it looks cool and all of that, but that doesn't necessarily always equate to money. And so when he asked me that, that was when I kind of realized, I'm like, oh wow, like I'm sure a lot of people probably think like that. Like if you have this big following, you don't need a job. And it's like, nah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. If all this stuff stops tomorrow, what is your backup plan? And that was where my head was at. I was like, nah, I need something that's gonna be steady and consistent. Now we got big girl bills. We ain't got time. This didn't take too long, but I do need to leave in 5 minutes, so we gonna have to pick up the pace. I feel like I never really talked with you guys about that. I think you guys just all of a sudden realized that I have a full-time job, but we never talked about how I got here. But what are your guys' thoughts though about the whole social media industry just as a whole in general? How do you guys feel about influencers? Where do you guys think it's gonna end up? Like, let's talk about it. I am thankful that when I was making that money, I was smart about what I did with my funds. I didn't go out and buy a whole bunch of like expensive name brand things. I bought a few, but I didn't OD. And I still put a good amount of that money where it needed to go. I'm very thankful for my journey though, because I've had some really great opportunities, met some amazing people. Like I've gotten to travel through social media, so it's been an amazing journey. And who knows, right? Like who knows what the future holds, but at the current moment, this is where we at. And I just wanted to have a little transparent moment with you guys because I feel like it's easy to kind of make things seem a certain way. On social media, you don't know what's real, what's not real. Because I feel like a lot of you guys who have been supporting me, y'all have been here for some years, and you guys have seen the journey firsthand. So yeah, I probably should have kept the front twisted up, huh? Maybe I still can. Let's see. Twist it like this. Let's see. Yeah, right? I think for now, I'm just gonna enjoy where I'm at. I do still plan on making content, so I don't think that this will ever stop completely unless social media is no longer a thing. I think this came out pretty decent. I don't know, what y'all think? How y'all feel? And now we can rock this for another week. So the last and final touch is going to be baby hairs, as always. As always. Well, that is it for this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And feel free to drop some comments, some thoughts. If you guys have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. Again, don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. And I will see you guys in the next one. I gotta go.